Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Jashana here to talk about a friggin' book. I talked about this book in a recent wrap-up, but I wanted to do an individual review because I need to do more individual reviews. But also, it is a self-published book, and I quite enjoyed it, and I just want to spread the word, you know? This is a young adult, futuristic, kind of sci-fi-ish fantasy book, and is the start of a new trilogy called the Elfraver Trilogy by J.R. Trask. And I'm just going to read the synopsis on the back to give you like the official what it's about. When Alina Kavich lost her parents, her grandfather Demas gave her a home and a purpose. At the school, he trained her to become an Elfraver, a hunter of arcane beasts, demons, and other anti-human entities. For 10 years, they built a life together. Then, one night, in the middle of preparing dinner, Demas vanished. Now 17 and stuck with her grandfather's debts, Alina resorts to illegal raves in her run-down hometown. But these small-time contracts simply aren't enough. The school lies in disrepair, the power's shut off, and the bills remain insurmountable. In a last-ditch gamble, she signs up for a rave whose massive reward could rewrite her entire future. However, she's far from the only Elfraver to answer the call of such an alluring bounty. Out of options, Alina sinks the last of her money into a forged raver's license and a one-way ticket to New El, the floating capital. There, an unnameable horror, her target, busies itself slaughtering the nobility in the dead of night, leaving no survivors and no witnesses. Protected only by her wits and spells, Alina must find a way to save New El, her school, and herself. So yeah, that's the long and short of it. I'm gonna set it for now over here because the bitch is heavy. As I mentioned in the recent wrap-up, I really enjoyed Alina as a character. She is just very scrappy, and like she goes to sign up for this rave without really much of a plan. She was trained by her grandfather, but she is not technically, officially an Elfraver. And she has done some jobs, but not a lot. And like this job is definitely out of, you know, her league, essentially. But she's just like, what the fuck else am I gonna do? Might as well try it because I'm running out of options. And I don't know, I really like that about her, that she's just like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, fuck it, you know? It's also interesting that she is a pacifist when it comes to hunting the elf, when it comes to elfraving. Most elfravers will kill the beasts, the creatures, and she does not. She has ways of working around this, and that's kind of part of the magic, but also the sci-fi stuff. She uses her cell phone to trap beasts in like data files or something. I don't even know. It was just really fun though. I thought it was like a really cool thing to do, to have this demon beast hunter, but who's a pacifist and doesn't want to take a life. Obviously that poses some issues for her from time to time. There's also this whole bit where she makes friends with somebody and she learns about the dark web, essentially. But it's like a place you can go. You can like upload yourself or you guys know with sci-fi, my brain gets confused and like, what? Sure, I'll go along with that. So I can't really explain the details of it. But yeah, there's this really kind of fucked up thing that happens to a character where they basically got dropped off by their parent on this island in this like data world in the dark web for years, and just left to fend for themselves, and they couldn't get out. And it was just, I don't know, I just thought it was really cool as a concept. And the magic system was pretty neat too. I mean, it's a magic system where you can like run out of power, run out of magic, and they call it Nima. And I think it stands for something if I remember correctly, but they just always called it Nima. So you can check your Nima on like your phone. It's like an Apple Watch type thing where you're like, oh, what's my heart rate at? And it's like, what are my Nima levels at? And if your Nima levels get too low, you can get like a sickness where it can make you go mad. It can make you violently ill. You can die if you basically drain yourself entirely and like keep trying to use your magic when you don't have any left. And I thought that was really cool as well. I just thought a lot of it was really cool. I'm gonna keep saying it was really cool. But it was. I just liked it. So there's definitely this mystery element too. Once she arrives on New El, the floating city, she's got to try to like piece these clues together of, they don't even know what this elf is. They don't know what the beast even is. No one has seen it. There's just little tidbits of clues here and there. So she goes around to the different crime scenes to try to piece stuff together as much as she can. She meets a couple of people along the way who end up helping her and becoming her friends. But then she's kind of getting pulled off, like trying to help them with different things. So she's getting pulled in a few different directions as she is trying to complete this mission. But again, she kind of doesn't have a plan. She's just like, I don't know, I'm gonna see what happens. And I just really liked that dogged determination. The one thing that I think was the biggest drawback of this story for me personally, because like I said, I like the characters for the most part. I enjoyed the writing style, was cool. You know, I'm a stickler for dialogue being, if it's weird or awkward or just bad, I'm like, ugh, no, I can't. I've DNF'd books just because I didn't like the dialogue before. I had no issues with any of that. Like, again, I enjoyed the magic system and just the world that was built. I thought it was really cool and interesting. Dragons used to rule humankind, which was pretty neat too. There's a little bit of history you learned there. And I think in the coming books, there will be more that we learn about that. Anyway, I digress. But the one thing that kind of like brought down my enjoyment was this whole subplot with this character who is part of essentially a cult, a very much religious fanatics. They are on street corners like yelling at everybody about being evil sinners all the time, and they have a guild of warriors, essentially warriors for the Lord, who are quite literally trained to kill people. And they're basically assassins. And they're running around killing for the Lord based on who the Lord says needs to be cleansed and whatnot. So they're just like, they're out there, right? And we're following one person from this group. And he's like the most unhinged of them all. The most bought in to the whole gotta do the Lord's will and murder all these people thing. He's very much about it. And we get chapters from his point of view. And I mean, number one, I just don't love, it wasn't made to be a positive thing, this level of religious fanaticism. It's just so frustrating for me to read. And being in that character's head, I was just like, oh God, I hate you so much. But my biggest thing is just, I didn't see that it was necessary in this book to have that whole subplot. I felt like it slowed down the story a little bit in places, where if we had taken out that whole subplot, we still would have had a complete story in this book. Now, it's part of a series, and with the end of this first book, I definitely see this storyline is going to come into play later, and I can only assume that it's going to play a bigger role as the story continues, as the rest of the series continues. So retroactively, I'm sure it'll make sense and I'll be like, okay, it was fine. But just in this book by itself, I remember finishing it and being like, we didn't really need that subplot. And the other thing that really irritated me, so 99% of this book, I really enjoyed Alina, our main character. I thought she was fun, like all the things I said. And Alina has a best friend that she left back in her hometown. But I was so irritated with her because like they keep in touch a lot. They text all the time. It was this whole situation where basically she went ghost for like 40 some hours, so like 2 days. And normally when he texts her, she texts pretty quickly right back, and they normally talk a fair amount. And he knows that she's off doing this very dangerous job, and And so he's texting her and she's not responding. And he's getting more and more like worried and concerned and like, oh my God, are you okay? Are you dead? Like, what is going on? And her response is to be all, oh my God, wow, he went full on cling mode. Like, geez, stage 5 clinger over here. Like, she is just flabbergasted that he is so, and she's like, doesn't he know that she can take care of herself? Has nothing to do. Like, what? You're on a dangerous mission, and it's just a courtesy to the people that care about you to let them know that you're alive still. That's what it's about. And I just didn't like how that was handled. And then she finally responded to him, and it turned into a fight with her ending up telling him to fuck himself and then blocking him. And I just was like, this girl, what the hell? Like, you're so rude. I thought he was completely in the right and she was completely in the wrong. And I'm like, okay, she's gonna apologize later and she'll realize the error of her ways. No, he apologized. And she's like, yeah, you messed up pretty bad, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, I'm really sorry. I should have been there for you more. And she's like, yeah, you should have. And I was just flabbergasted by like, what is that? No, like, you were wrong, girl. You were so rude. All he wanted was a little common courtesy of, hey, people care about you. Let them know you're alive when you're doing this dangerous mission that you very easily could die doing. And you're not responding now, and it's out of character for you to not respond. So, like, they're obviously going to worry. Yeah, so I didn't like that, but it was like 1%, if that, of her as a character and how she was. Otherwise, I really enjoyed her and I really liked her. There's a plot twist at the end as well that I didn't see coming, and I don't know if that was stupid or not. I probably should have put it together a little bit or like had a suspicion, but I had none. I was like, what? And I enjoyed that. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a nice little story, and I am excited to continue with it. Like, I genuinely want to continue and see where this goes with that ending. Like I said, the kind of twist ending. We learned something. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, we learned something about Alina's family. Because like I said, she's orphaned. Her parents died when she was young and so on. And then her grandpa just like disappeared. So we learned something about her family towards the end that was very interesting. Yeah, so I liked it. I ended up giving it 3.75 pushinicorns. The only things, like I said, that brought my enjoyment down slightly was mostly just the subplot that was going on. I just didn't like that guy at all. And I mean, you were not supposed to like him, but those chapters were incredibly frustrating for me, personally. And then, like I said, just feeling kind of as though maybe they didn't need to be taken out entirely, because as I said, I can see that it's going to tie in and it's going to continue to be a part of the story in books 2 and 3, that whole subplot. But I feel like it could have been cut back a little bit in order to just kind of make it a little more concise, you know? I feel like we didn't need quite as much of that subplot. That's what it boils down to. So if a kind of futuristic, sci-fi-ish fantasy world with a young adult protagonist doing magic and defeating beasts, but also being a pacifist, sounds fun. With a floating city and dragons that used to rule humans. This is a animatronic robot dragon. There's androids. There's like android people, and people can get modifications to have like better sight or whatever, different android modifications. So if any of that sounds cool, I definitely would recommend this book. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.